Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcomed to the combined agenda and regular meeting of the Monroe Township Council. Called to order at this time. Would you all please rise to honor our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Do you need a push? Yes. Thank you. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Councilman Charles DePiero.
Here.
Councilman Michael Markell.
Here.
Councilwoman Rupa P. Siegel.
Here.
Council Vice President Terrence Van Zora.
Here.
Council President Miriam Cohen.
Present. Would you, clerk, please read the Sunshine Law into the record?
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, it is hereby announced and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting that adequate notice has been provided by the following. 1. Posted on the bulletin boards within the municipal building on December 29, 2023, excuse me, and remains posted at that location for public inspection. 2. Printed in the Home News Tribune and the Cranberry Press on December 29, 2023. 3. Posted on the Monroe Township website. And 4. Sent to those individuals who have requested personal notice. In accordance with Chapter 3, Section 17 of the Monroe Township Code, public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes unless further time is granted by the Council President.
Thank you. Proclamations at this time are Flag Day, June 14th, 2024. Our Monroe Township Library is celebrating its 35th anniversary. The Arc of Middlesex County is celebrating 75 years of good work. We do have a presentation tonight. Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you, Madam Council President. So this first proclamation in particular is for Mr. Wayne Horvat, former Director of Public Works for Monroe Township, and 23 years of amazing, dedicated service to our wonderful township here. And it's always, as the mayor, when you come up for opportunities like this, when that stalwart, that rock that you've always depended on in town, reaches this part of their career, their life path. It's always, I get taken aback when I stand up here because there's some sadness, there's some happiness, but it's all about the accolades and appreciation. And when you think about that appreciation, it makes it a little bit more palatable to say goodbye. Now, obviously, you've had your, the DPW had a little event for you as well, which was very festive. I had the honor and the luxury to take out Wayne for a little lunch as well, which was nice. But today, we take it a little step further now with kind of the codification of it, Wayne. You know, it's official. There's a plaque with your name on here, so this is official. But oh my gosh, look at what's around you, your coworkers. I mean, look at Patty Reed, just retiring about a month, and she's back. And look how good she looks. I mean, it's done wonders.
George doesn't.
All right, so you're gonna have to keep an eye out on the next retirement because you got to come in. So that I can say, look at Wayne. Wayne, what you've accomplished, what you've seen, where you've taken DPW and this town over these last 23 years has been a wild ride. And the opportunity to sit, you and I, last month during lunch and hear some stories, and I hung on every word that you told me, some of these stories. And the reflection that you've had in regards to those stories that were told about DPW in particular, and the town as a whole, and where we've been, where we are and the groundwork that you've laid for the future. You know, as mayor, I'm the #1 cheerleader where I get to go out and tout what Monroe is about. And we always talk about the crown jewels. The DPW recycling yard is part of that set of jewels that we have. And that is attributed to you. And again, and I know Council Vice President Van Zura always says, a lot of times it's just not about the brick and the mortar, it's the people there. And Wayne, you as the leader of DPW, again, have reached the zenith of a professional career to go out on a high. And one more little quick story here, more about myself, but about going out on a high. I was just talking to somebody this morning about golf and how I said, I'm not a good golfer. I don't like golfing. And he says, well, when was the last time you golfed? I said, about 18 years ago. And it was in Forsgate. And I'm not a good golfer, but I parred the hole right on Forsgate Drive. It was a par 4. I parred, and I said, I'm never going to golf again because I wanted to go out on a high. Wayne, you've gone out on a high here. You've set the standard. You've been such a tremendous asset. And this is an opportunity for all of us here, your former co-workers, the citizens, our elected leaders, and the citizens in general of Monroe Township, just to say thank you so very, very much. I'd like to call you up and read this proclamation. Let's hear it for Wayne. Township of Monroe, Middlesex County, New Jersey. Congratulations on your retirement, Wayne D. Horvat. With great appreciation of your 23 years of dedication and commitment, thank you for going above and beyond serving the citizens of the Township of Monroe. Wishing you the best on a new adventure with much respect and gratitude. Congratulations, Mayor Stephen Delina, that's me, and the Monroe Township Council 2024. Again, thank you so much, Wayne. The microphone is all yours, Wayne. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for your kind words. And it's been a real pleasure working with the council and the mayor for all these years. We're a team here, and not only at the DPW, we're a team there too, but the council and the mayor have always worked with me. They were there for me, and we have a great town here. We have a great town. We have a great government here. Monroe's a great place to live and a great place to work. So I'll never forget that, and I'll always remember fondly. Worked with Alan Weinberg a lot. He was always supportive of me, and we had a great relationship too. And I just want to go back, when I started. And a little over 23 years ago, they had an opening down at the DPW. And a friend of mine said, put your resume in. And I said, I don't know anybody there, okay? They're not going to even talk to me. Well, lo and behold, I got called in, and I met Mayor Pucci. Never met him before. He never met me. I think at that time, the only thing we had in common, that we both grew up in Perth Amboy. Other than that, we didn't know each other. And he gave me a great opportunity. He offered me the position. I took it. He told me, what it entailed. And he did mention, too, he said, always remember one thing. The people of Monroe come first. He said, we work for them. And I always kept that thought, and it worked for me. It worked for me. So, again, my dad always told me, never forget where you come from, and never forget the people that helped you along the way. So I'd like to reach out to Mayor Pucci and thank him. He gave me a great career, and I'm grateful for everything, and I'm grateful for everybody I worked with throughout the years. Thank you very much.
Wayne, I'm really sure that each of us on the council wishes to say a word or two, so we will. I'm going to take the privilege of the chair this time and go first. As I said at your luncheon at DPW, you made my grandson very impressed with his grandmother because it was from you I learned all about the different types of salt that we use on our roads and why we use them. He was truly impressed, and I was delighted that I was able to do that and also to learn something about the work of a very important department of our town. I was wonderful to hear that Greg Slavacek would comment that you gave him the opportunity to learn and you taught him. So what we learn about the work that other people do that we may not know is very important. You sat at a meeting just like that and reminded us all at one meeting of the wonders of our DPW and that people should be aware of the work of the men and women who work there. So you did that for all of them, and you lived up to your own goals and perhaps exceeded them for yourself. And so exceed your goals for retirement and find it wonderful. I'm going to ask Council Vice President, say a word or two, please, sir.
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome.
You know, whenever these people retire, I always say the same thing, you know. You've been here 23 years. You must have done a good job because we don't hear people complaining about you all the time. But I got to tell you, if you think about it, over these, especially the last bunch of years, we had a lot of challenges that we faced. You know, we've had terrible weather, we've had snowstorms, we've had a lot of rain and flooding and a lot of things. You know, you managed to always get out there and do a good job. Out of all the jobs in this town, yours is one that people would tend to complain about the most, because what happens if it snows and you don't get their street, they're going to be complaining. And you know what? Wasn't really a lot. I mean, there's always going to be a little bit, but you really, the whole crew did a nice job. And every now and then I'd be out there, you know, on my street riding by, I'd see somebody working on something, and everybody that you have working for you has always been respectful, always been nice. And they seem to follow your leadership as treating others the way they should. So they're competent, they do a good job, and they're part of our community. They're part of what makes Monroe great. So can't thank you enough for all your time and your effort. And you know, I wish you nothing but the best in your next stage of life. Good luck to you.
Councilman DePiero?
Wayne, I just want to wish you well on your next chapter of enjoyment. That's what we want to see you do. We want to see you enjoy yourself with you and your family, your grandchildren and everybody. But, you know, DPW is very close to my heart in this town, and I've always, I worked with them when I had a construction business over the years, and from Bob Sanderson all the way through, with my uncle being involved in DPW as well. I've always has a close spot to my heart. But you have a team, and that's what you said before. And your dad taught you right, and you taught your crew and your staff. You did the right thing, and the team always steps up. No matter what happens in Monroe Township, DPW gets the job done. And that's what's important. And working together, as we work together up here, we couldn't do it without the team that you guys set the example. Being, as Mayor Pucci said, the residents come first. But thank you for everything that you have done over the years, and thank you for taking care of most of my emails. I thank all of that, and you guys just do a great job, and I know Greg and the staff will do a phenomenal job. So good luck, and relax for a change. Thank you.
Councilman Markell, please.
Well, I'm relatively new here in Monroe, so I'm not that familiar with you, sir, really, in a personal basis. But as I campaigned for my last election, I haven't had any complaints about our town here as far as the job you've done. I just may want to add one thing, that being here for 6 years, I have friends from all over the country, and they've visited me at times. And they say, well, you're going to show us Monroe, what's Monroe? And I always take them to the recycling center first. And they go, are you out of your mind? I go, you got to see this place. It's unbelievable. you know, and they even can't believe how nice the people are down there, which is also a reflection on the head. It's always on the head. Congratulations, and thank you so much, and enjoy your retirement. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Good evening. Thank you, Wayne. Congratulations on this milestone. 23 years is a wow, as Councilman Vanzero said. It's just amazing when you drive around town and you see the impact that DPW makes all around town, whether it's on a field or just driving around. You just see the beauty, and DPW is one of the reasons why things look so beautiful here. But it's your leadership that's really built that department, made it what it is today, and setting it up for the future. So I thank you. I wish you all the best in retirement. I can't wait to hear some of your retirement stories when we see you around and when you come back for a future retirement, as the mayor said. So congratulations again.
Thank you, Wayne. We will miss you. You're supposed to. That's the rule, you know. But I'm glad for the new opportunities you will have. Our next presentation is the recognition of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee. You know, folks, you know that council members are liaisons to a variety of committees in town. Councilwoman Siegel is the mayor's liaison to the Youth Advisory Committee, which has accomplished much, as it always does. Mr. Mayor joining you doing this together. Yeah, sure, it's better that way. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So as Council President said, I'm the liaison to the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council. And each year we have this program, and we have an application process for high school students that live in Monroe. And this year we had a rigorous application process, and we selected 22 students to be part of our program. So throughout the year, the students learn a little bit about municipal government. We have different heads from our different departments, such as our township administration, planning and zoning, our clerk's office, EMS, and the police, who come in and share a little bit of information around their department so the students have an opportunity to learn. And we also this year had our Health Advisory Commission also come in. So each year this group is tasked with coming up with some way to give back to the community. And this group this year co-sponsored the Wellness Fair with Mayor Delina's wellness campaign with the focus on youth mental health and opioids. And the youth mental health piece actually came from last year's group. It was an area that they felt was really important to the youth of today. So the students worked throughout the year with representatives from Middlesex County Health and Human Services, Monroe EMS, and our Health Advisory Commission in creating this successful event for the community. In speaking with some of the students that day, as residents shared their stories on this important topic, it was an eye-opener to the students, where they too saw how important the information that they were sharing and presenting to the community and the impact it has on someone else's life. So I want to congratulate the students for all their hard work and community service that you've done. We're very proud of your hard work. Before we call each of you up, I would like to take a minute to thank Kevin McGowan and Kyle Johansson for all the behind the scenes. And we have to give a special thank you to Kyle, because he's been our advisor for the students, but he's been a tremendous leader and a mentor to the students in helping them pull these projects together. So I'd like to recognize the students with the mayor. So we're going to call each of you up, and we'll give you a certificate, and then we'll take a little group picture at the end. So again, I just want to thank you all. So first we have Madison Adamczyk, and some of the students may not be here, so we'll just read their names. Aditi Amarnath, Matthew Basili, Gabriella Cornett. Matthew. Jayani Datta. Ian Fernandez. Shethra Grande. Sahishna Grande. Ananya Kodicherla. Rui Kulkarni. Arav Kumar. Anvi Kumar. Shriya Madaneni. Tarika Madaretti. Jasmine Mudar. Thendril Nirmal. Anj Patel. Parisa Rizvi. Hannah Schussler. Gurbani Singh. Akash Talluri. And Jeanette Zanoon. So again, congratulations to you all.
Ellen? Ellen? Picture? Right? Folks, unless anyone on the council wants to add to that before we take a 5-minute break for pictures? Pictures? We're good with pictures. So we'll take a 5-minute recess. Everyone gets a chance to take some pictures. The agenda session of the Monroe Township Council is called to order. Item 6 on our agenda, the ordinance for second reading. Would the clerk please read them?
Ordinance 05-2024-009, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Ordinance 05-2024-010, ordinance amending the Code of the Township of Monroe, Section 108-5.27, entitled Stormwater Management.
Ordinance 7, please. Yes.
Ordinances for introduction at the June 5th regular meeting. Ordinance 05-2024-011. Ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Fees.
Item 8 is the budget resolutions for consideration at the June 5th, 2024 regular meeting. R6 2024-151 Resolution providing that the 2024 municipal budget be read by title at the time of the public hearing. R6 2024-152A, resolution amending the 2024 capital budget. That's the Water Quality Accountability Act, and it's a 5-year plan. R6 2024-152B, resolution adopting the 2024 municipal budget. Item 9, the resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda at the June 5th, 2024 regular meeting. R6 2024-153 through R6 2024-167. Any council members have resolutions they wish removed from this consent agenda? Please now.
Council President?
Yes,
I have
please.
one resolution, R62024-161.
Thank you. We move to the public comment section of the agenda meeting. Please note, it's 5 minutes per speaker and limited to agenda items only. Anyone wishing to come before the council, please do so now. State your name and address for our record, please. I take a motion before you start to open the public comment section. May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Please, sir.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Bob Valentine. I reside at 68 Union Valley Road in Monroe.
Yes, sir.
And I just wanted to speak to all of you briefly about the budget that was read in title only. This evening it's ready to be approved. I want to start by thanking Mr. Weinberg, Mr. Lang, and Ms. Ola for meeting with me last Friday. I had a good number of budget questions. I submitted them back on May 20th after reviewing the introduced and past budgets, as well as the past audit reports. They're cordial, and we covered a lot of ground. I spent 40 years in not-for-profit finance, but there are nuances in how New Jersey municipalities prepare budgets. And they reviewed those with me and helped enhance my understanding of the budget process and the financials. And I know they've done a lot of good work over the years, and as a citizen, I'm very appreciative of all that. My comments tonight really are focused more for the mayor and the council members to talk about the budget a little bit. As I understand, there's going to be a tax increase approved tonight of 3.89%, and will raise about $2.8 million of revenue for the city. I just try to put, I guess, a little sense of my feelings about it. If I hire someone to provide a service, and the vendor tells me they'll offer me one of the lowest rates in the state, I'm certainly going to be happy about that. However, if I find out a few years later down the road that I was really charged more than perhaps is necessary, I don't feel nearly as well. And when I contact the vendor to express my disappointment about paying more than I think I should, I don't expect the response to be, "Don't worry, I'm only going to increase your price and everyone else's, only a small amount going forward." Not really the kind of response I think we would take in other circumstances. The town's current fund, which is the fund that houses the municipal operations and is the primary source of their funding for those operations, is earning revenue in excess of its expenses from its current fund operations at a rate of $10 to $13 million a year since 2020. $45 million is the total aggregate from 2020 to 2023. In my conversations and when I looked at it, I'm not aware of any reason to believe this trend is not going to continue. And as I mentioned, a lot of good work has been done. At the end of 2010, the town had just under $10 million of cash and investments in that fund. At the end of 2023, the cash and investments totaled just over $51 million, a five-fold increase. I recognize there are risks that finance has to assess as part of its budget process. But there are also positive trends that can mitigate risk, such as the town increasing its ratables and emergency financial relief, such as the town received during the pandemic. There was a need to establish cash reserves and to continue to produce stable, recurring operating results to address surprises. Of course, the stability issue only gets raised if you want to lower taxes. Instability from raising taxes that's okay. It is prudent to save during the good times in order to weather the bad. I certainly agree with that. However, it's one thing to save for a rainy day, the town appears to be saving for a tsunami. Let's look at the current environment, which is the backdrop for this action you're about to take. Outside factors that you're not in control of, but certainly are aware of. An increase was recently enacted to the school tax. The residents already assume a large funding burden for our schools, due in part to a state aid formula that disadvantages our town. To learn that a tax increase is being enacted here for the municipality, given the town's apparently very strong financial condition, is very disappointing, considering there seems to be room, if anything, perhaps an incremental tax reduction. And this step at this time just seems to me to be somewhat tone deaf to the moment that we're living in. I understand the finance business perspective, which is always going to be resistant to lowering revenue. I completely understand that. However, finance priorities may not always align with the needs of the residents. I'm really looking to you, Mr. Mayor, and the council members to fully understand the budget, evaluate the risks, and challenge finance on our behalf. You are the ultimate advocates we have in this process. And in my opinion, I think on this matter, you let us down a bit. If each of you are convinced, though, that the town could suffer serious economic harm if taxes are not increased for a year that's almost half over, when you can get a good sense of the performance, that is your call to make and be held accountable for. I hope you would reconsider your actions, but I do thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Anyone else wishing to come before the council, please do so now. Someone's ahead of you, sir. Should walk faster from your name and address for the records, please.
Good evening, Lucio Panos, 1208 C. Lindero Plaza. My questions is how much is the tax rate with this budget? In 2023, it was 2.559. How much is this budget? Then where is this budget posted in the municipal building as required?
You usually wish to finish all your questions
Okay,
before you get an answer.
I surprise myself sometimes. It's what I forget. The resolution for the furniture and carpet. Was there any consideration given to not having carpet? Maybe cost effective of cleaning it, maintaining it. I just wondered, was flooring ever considered, just linoleum or all the new stuff they have out today? And the resolution regarding the Shop Monroe, I hope that's modeled after Marlboro and Old Bridge. They did quite well with that. How much is the contract for? Who's ever implementing this? And please explain what Shop Monroe is.
Mr. Weinberg, before I turn this over to you, just a comment for everyone in the off. The budget has been posted on our webpage for at least a month.
In the municipal building. In the municipal building is what?
I'm answering
is
the
what the law
question.
requires.
It's in the clerk's office.
It's in the clerk's office as always.
It's not posted on the wall, but it's in the clerk's office.
Okay. However, I hope next year you either change the law or follow it and post it where somebody doesn't have to go up and ask for it in the building.
Mr. Weinberg?
Yep. So to the tax rate question, we're only about 20% of the tax rate. So our rate is going to be from 0.489 to 0.508. Our rate was at 1.493. So the difference there is about 1.9 cents, but over the past 4 years, it's about 1.5 cents. In terms of carpeting, we haven't obviously updated the carpeting both here at Town Hall or at MTUD in several decades. And so we did do the update here. You can see it on the floor. It's carpet tiles. Actually makes it a lot easier to maintain if there's a spill, and the useful life is literally decades. We're doing the same thing over at the utility department as it relates to that. In terms of Shop Monroe, yes, we would be the newest group doing it, similar to how Marlboro does it. I believe Manalapan does it, Old Bridge does it. And so we'll be moving forward on that program. It's something our Economic Development Commission recognized, and we'll be reaching out to vendors. In short, it's an opportunity for vendors to participate in a program that will help advertise, where residents, if they shop at certain locations, can get a certain percentage discount, which ultimately comes off their tax bill. You'll be hearing more about this over the coming months. So the savings that you get ultimately comes off your tax bill and gets reconciled with your tax bill associated with that. The goal of it is to encourage people to shop in town. Vendors are not required to participate, but we certainly welcome them to, and we're certainly excited about that going forward.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I just, two things with that. You know, if the average person looks up the budget online and says, you know, they look at all the counties and the towns. Last year, I said Monroe was 2.559, and I know he threw out some other numbers, but if I was to look on that, what would it say? Would it say 2.750 or 2.350? Just the
Well, that's
annual
the
tax.
total rate, that's County Board of Education.
I know what it
So
entails. I just want to know.
I don't know if
What gets posted out to the public is what the average person would look for, like I did. And
Right,
these
so-
numbers he gave me was totally not what's put out there. So for every $100, how much is
So
the tax rate?
at this point, we can only speak for the township tax bill. At some point, the tax collector will get certified copies along from I believe, the county, the school board, each individual fire district, as well as, those are the different groups. And they'll promulgate the tax bills, which will go out probably in July at some point, once all the different rates are certified. Each rate is certified differently. The school board has...
Fire, the whole thing.
Yeah, so fire, there's 3 separate rates. So the rate in the town is actually different in each fire district. So in the end, when you say the rate, it's only for one of each of the 3
No,
sections.
but it was just what's out there was my question. I don't need the whole hullabaloo. If I go online and I looked up tax rate for Monroe Township, it gave me a whole bunch of options for different towns in Middlesex County, and 2.559 was last year's. So maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Parab, you wish to speak?
Prakash Parab, 33 Dana Drive. Just like a simple questions. What is the municipal budget this year in $1 million, please?
Please, sir, yes.
73.7, I believe.
Yeah.
That's the total budget.
And how much did it increase from last year?
So I believe the budget last year was 69.7.
Okay.
I would add that 25.2%, 25.2 million of our budget comes from outside of property taxes, including the surplus that was mentioned earlier.
So in percentage-wise, how much increase it is?
It's different for the tax rate as it relates to the actual township itself.
Okay.
I believe on the tax rate, as mentioned earlier, I think it was 3.89.
Okay.
But we also have some additional ratables as well.
Okay. So I think with inflation going on so much, we are talking about 3.9, so that's good. And I also appreciate the shared services you all are doing. That cuts down a lot. And also shared service with the schools, and you all are helping our school district wherever possible. So we do appreciate all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the council, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I would ask for a motion to close the public portion.
Motion.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm going to call for a motion now to adjourn the agenda session. Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second on that.
Second.
May I have a roll call?
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilman Markel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Agenda meeting is concluded. I'm calling the regular meeting to order. Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Yes.
Councilman Markel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes. Motion to approve the payment of claims per the run date of May 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero?
Abstain.
Councilman Markel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Motion to approve of minutes of the May 6th agenda and regular combined meeting. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilman Markel, Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Ordinance for second reading, 05-2024-009. Ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any nay? Anyone wishing to address the council on this ordinance, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I'll have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Thank you. Second on that.
Second.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 05-2024-009, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilman Markel, Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes, the
Motion
ordinance
carries.
passed. Thank you. Ordinance 05-2024-01. Oh, ordinance amending the code of the Township of Monroe, Section 108-527, entitled Stormwater Management. Parenthetically, it says privately owned salt storage. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on
Second.
that? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to address the council on this matter, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
Motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
Council President, I had one question
Yes,
about
sir.
this. Who's going to enforce this? Will it be zoning?
Mr.,
I'm actually going to defer.
you are going to defer
to
to
Mark.
Sure.
Mark.
Council President,
Thank
it
you,
is
Mr.
spelled
Esposito.
out. Council President, it is spelled out in the ordinance. It's enforced by the police department and our code enforcement.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Again, is there a motion on the floor with a second?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilman Markel, Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Sure. Ordinance for introduction, 05-2024-011. Ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Fees.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilman Markel, Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
That's a yes.
(2024) the municipal budget, R6, 2024-151. Resolution providing that the 2024 municipal budget will be read by title at the time of the public hearing. Motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilman Markel, Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. R6, 2024-152A, resolution amending the 2024 capital budget. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second? Second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilman Markel, Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I would like a motion to open the public hearing on the 2024 municipal budget, which was introduced on May 6, 2024. Motion, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilman Markel, Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Oh, my damn phone, and I turned it off. Let's ignore me. I apologize. I'll do it. Anyone wishing to come before the council, that's what I dance to, spinning in the rain. Anyone wishing to address the council on the budget, please come forward now. Seeing and hearing no one wishing to have, I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. R6 2024 152B is the resolution adopting the 2024 municipal budget. May I have a motion on that, please?
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes, we have adopted the budget. We
Yes.
move to item 7. Would you please do the resolutions, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda, R6, 2024-153 through R6, 2024-167, with the exception of Resolution R6, 2024-161, which will be considered separately.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. Again, a roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolutions removed from the consent agenda for consideration. Motion, please.
Motion.
That's R6, 2024-161.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
On that. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilman Markel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will move to the reports with our administrator on the extreme left. And when Wayne was here, you didn't tell them how you once drove on a snowplow.
Yes, yes.
Test
Thank you,
that.
thank you, Council President. A couple of brief comments for the audience. First, I would like to thank George and Lori for their help on the budget. Certainly not an easy task, and the opportunity to work with the council on that. Do want to thank Mr. Valentine, hopefully I got that right, for his thoughtful input, his comments, and the thoughtful discussion that we had. And appreciate his feedback. I think I just turned this off by accident, and I apologize. A couple of comments. Last month, we authorized a bond issuance, and I was pleased to note that I believe we got 6 or 7 companies that bid for our bond proceeds. The rate that we got was a net rate of 3.59%, which was for the market that we were in, and looking at all the issues that were done in the month of May. We did quite well. There were many that were much higher, and we were able to get our AA+ bond rating, and that rate applies to a significant amount of our debt, and also we also had a slightly lower rate for our notes as well, so excited about that. There's one item on this agenda with the library grant direct install. This is something we've been doing for quite some time. I don't know if Harold is in the back there. Harold has helped many of our different departments take advantage of a grant program through the Board of Public Utilities where we can get energy efficient improvements as it relates to different energy items. And this is another one over at the library to do 4 energy efficient HVAC units and energy efficient lighting. It's a $595,000 project. $372,000 is a grant, and $223,000 is a no-interest loan that the library will pay over the course of a 60-month period. It also leads to significant reductions in energy use, which is positive. Speaking of energy, we went out to bid again for the what's called the Monroe Township Energy Aggregation Program. For those of you who remember, we had a 8-year run from probably 2013 or 12 to 2020, where we were able to get rates that were significantly below the tariff rate at one point, almost 20%. with the uncertainty post-COVID and uncertainty in the marketplace, every time we went out to bid to see if we could secure a community energy aggregation program, the bids were higher. And the last one I believe we did was 13% over the tariff rate. That is why all our residents are now on the tariff rate, because if the community energy aggregation rate is above the tariff rate, we obviously can't award that because we wouldn't want people to pay more than the tariff rate. We took bids today. That's how it works in this industry. It's a real-time bid. And unfortunately, the rates that came in were still 1% above the tariff. So we were not able to award tonight. But as we promised residents and as I've discussed with the mayor and council, we'll keep testing the market, because if there is significant savings, it's something we want to get back to doing. We're not alone in this. I don't think anyone has awarded a community energy aggregation program since the energy market has become unstable the last 3 or 4 years, but we'll continue to look at it. It was an item on the agenda. It's not something that we have forgotten about, and we'd love to be able to get back to those savings that we had that ranged anywhere from 10 to 19%, and so we'll keep pushing on that. One of the other items on this agenda is police accreditation. That's done through the New Jersey Association of Chiefs of Police. So the chief is moving forward on that, and we have a program moving forward where they look at and have to meet certain benchmarks and opportunities and standards, and our joint insurance fund covers almost half of that. And I know the police department's really excited about doing it, and hopefully towards the end of the year, the beginning of next year, we'll complete that accreditation process with our excellent police department. Finally, one of the items on here, Mark may mention it, he says sometimes I steal his thunder, is we're doing our 2024 roads. So you'll see some paving starting probably in July and August. Significant amount of roads that we'll be doing for a total contract price of $1.59 million, trying to keep our roads as well maintained as possible, as was mentioned earlier. We did receive 11 bids, which is, the timing that we're doing these is really good. And so I want to thank Center State. Whenever you get 11 bids, you're getting the most reasonable price that you could possibly get. And so we're excited for that road paving coming up. That's my report, Council President.
Thank you very much. Mr. Asmowitz.
Thank you, Council President. The council authorized 2 resolutions tonight, authorizing us to submit for 2 NJDOT local aid grants, one for Heritage Chase Development and one for Ridgewood Estates Development. That would be for road paving and some sidewalk and curbing replacements. Also, as Alan had mentioned tonight, you authorized award for the 2024 road paving to Discover Construction. We did receive 11 bids. Low bid was $1.599 million, and that includes 18 roadways as well as a portion of the library parking lot. Old Bridge Englishtown Road traffic signal, that construction continues. They've been doing utility pole relocations out there, working with Jersey Central Power and Light and Verizon to get that done. There is some extensive pole relocations going on, but that project continues to move along. Also, traffic signal at Applegarth and Joan Warren Way, that is under construction out there. The signal is up. It's not in operation yet. There's still sidewalk improvements and some electrical work that's underway. And lastly, the South Middlesex Avenue road paving project, that is under construction. Concrete work is going on. As we speak, we anticipate milling and paving in the next 2 to 3 weeks out there to complete that job. And that was under a NJDOT local freight grant that we received.
Thank you.
That's my report.
We'll move to council reports. Councilman DePiero.
Thank you. While we're under, the road, I'd like to ask a question. We did some paving on Spotswood Gravel Hill Road from Eric down to Avenue K, and I noticed that some of the intersections were milled and repaved. Why?
Council President, there was I don't know exactly for every spot. There was a puddle in a place. There was some unraveling at a couple of the joints, so there was remediation work that had to be done by the contractor at his expense.
Is the punch list completed?
I don't know if the punch list is 100% complete. We have not recommended any bond releases as of yet. And once the punch list is complete, then we would move forward with release of any bonds.
Okay. It just looks that, you had to do a brand-new road, you repave 6 months later, almost every intersection is milled and repaved. So it's quite a bit of patching on a road that we kind of did that paving late November, and a contractor that came in and did the paving. I mean, I don't know if there's any additional punch list items, but if there is, I'd like to get a copy of that punch list on what's remaining on that project. Prospect Plains and Applegarth, do we have an update on the traffic signal there?
Has anyone heard?
So I
about
think,
it?
yep, so the
Right.
county will be moving forward on that project shortly. I know they're just about to go out to bid. We have acquired all the parcels but one. We're working to try and acquire the parcel that's associated with the railroad at the crossing there. And I believe we are in condemnation related to that, and hopefully we'll have that last parcel worked out. But I believe the county is moving forward towards advertising, because that's the final piece.
Okay, thank you. I sent an email and I copied the chief of police as well. You go through some communities and you see stop signs and it says, "What's your speed?" on the stop sign. We have two that I'm aware of, one being in Avenue K in front of our Veterans Park, and another sign being in front of the municipal building here on Schoolhouse when you're approaching the high school. I just thought it would be a positive way of safety and also making people aware of their speed. There's so many schools, parks, Monmouth Road being an example, our rec center, school right across the street. There's so many areas that we can use these signs and also put on top of the sign, it's what your speed is. It kind of makes, if it makes half the people slow down, it will help. I know, a joke to my wife, I always say she's the only one that does 25 on Schoolhouse. When she approaches here, I tell her, go faster, keep up with the traffic. But she says no, she does the 25. But I think even on Avenue K, it helps with being with the park. So if we can do it in front of our schools and parks, it will definitely be a move in the right direction for safety. I sent an email in reference to Walnut and Pergola, and Joe responded that it's not our main. I appreciate the our MTUD looking into it, but there is American Water as well has a main there. Either way, it's got to get fixed. So there's an intersection there that water keeps bubbling through, and it's deteriorating the road to Walnut and also a county road being Pergola. So it's something that maybe we can get aggressive on, and if it's New Jersey American Water, then have them fix it, or if it's our responsibility. I just didn't want to see ice in and situations coming. And I had a question for the 2024 road paving. I say it every year, with school starting in September, it's always nice to try to get as many roads paved with the less traffic of school buses and parents and students driving. So if that's something that we could look at where the schools are and on that list, and thank you for the list, Mark, and your team, and Alan, your work on getting us the list. Thank you. I wanted to say thank you to MTUD. I noticed on the website that they had an inspection done by the New Jersey DEP, and basically it's a if you will, like a report card of our wells, our pump stations, and our infrastructure. And it shows that we're in great standings. And, for a water company, and just like our DPW, for a water company to do something like this and get the New Jersey DEP to recognize it was 31 pages of details. And that's something that I just want to say, Joe, thank you very much, and your team of inspectors. And I also am concerned, as I brought it up to Alan and before, that we just continue to have all our guys, when we pass the torch, that everybody has license, and we all don't have to worry, just like we did with DPW, how we transitioned into DPW position. It just makes it a lot smoother, and our residents come first. But I wanted to recognize you and your staff on making DPW, an A+. It's an amazing report, and people should look at it. Thank you very much. And I wanted to say our police is doing a public safety presentation on crime and scams. I've attended a few, and it's very interesting. And the last one I attended, our mayor was there, and it was very, very well attended. And it's on July 2nd at 6:30 at the community center, and then there's one on July 18th at 3:30 at the senior center. And it's something that everybody should try to attend, or maybe we can get it live streamed now that we have. I see the screens behind us. Thank you, Alan, and everybody for that. And also, maybe we can get that live streamed, that type of meeting. I wanted to, yesterday I noticed that our DPW took our sickle bar out onto Federal Road, and they cut the grass in the right of way. And then I circled back, and I noticed a resident parked on Country Brook Drive, and he was out there picking up garbage, putting it in a garbage bag, and put it in the back of his pickup truck. And I thanked him. I stopped and I thanked him. But there's also another gentleman. He's usually here. His name's George Gunkelman, and he lives not too far from my office. And he goes out there almost every day, and he goes for his walk or whatever, and he has a bucket, and he has his 5-gallon bucket, and he picks up garbage along Prospect Plains and other streets in the nearby area. And when you see residents do that, it's a good thing. We do community cleanups, and we're always there whenever we can be. But that's nice to see the residents do it as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Gunkelman, and also I thanked the resident yesterday. On June 2nd, I attended at the Dye Farm open house. We had Mr. Davis as George Washington, and I want to thank Kyle and his team for putting together a good program, well attended, and it was very good information. Good to see the community come together, walk through the buildings, and I just wanted to say thank you to your team, Kyle, and it was very interesting. I brought up, in January we had Father Michaels came. There's an intersection, Bergen's Mill, Federal Road. It's a very bad intersection. I had two other residents that got into accidents since then, unfortunately. And it might be something that we look into. We mentioned it before with four-way stops, but it's also important to get the right-of-way, all the materials, the in between that's there, trees and brush and debris. So if we can keep an eye on that, and also maybe if we need to get some kind of DOT approval, look into a four-way stop. I don't know if Mark has any updates on it, but it was started in January. But I like to continue that study if he can make something happen there.
Did you wish to comment? I'm sorry.
Council
Councilman.
President, I know our Public Works has opened up the site triangle, cleared the brush along the right-of-way, as well as they replaced the stop signs out there.
Good.
And some striping. There was some striping improvements on the roadway itself to make it more visible to stop.
Because it gets a lot of traffic with baseball and everything, and it is a bad intersection. But thank you. I wanted to bring everybody up to to speed on the citizen, I'm chair of the Citizen Review Board, and along with Councilman Van Doren, and also Alan's on the board as well. So I just wanted to say, right now, there's and also Patty, I remember you on the board. It was always a pleasure. She had a lot of good questions, and they have under 100 residents there, and they're at about a 70% staff, and the average age is between 15 and 25 years old. And it's very interesting that 90 acres is inside the fence, which is 21 feet fence on a curve, 3 feet in the ground, 18 feet out. It's all razor sharp, and it's all computerized, and it's 90 acres with 42 buildings. 2 buildings are historic, and it's very interesting when we go to these meetings and we ask the staff, it's like, when you guys closing? When you guys closing? That's the golden question. So they kind of filled us up. They kind of filled us in. There's 470 acres outside the gates. There's 90 acres across the street where Camp Derrick used to be, in their old police department. So it's all farmland preserved outside the gates. And the state said that they found 3 locations to build the 3 new buildings. So hopefully they'll eventually, down the road, they will close this one. I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that as the chair, something that I thoroughly enjoy doing, because I lived there all my life right in that area, and it's something that we should all keep an eye on. And they said that in September they were going to start building, and it would be a 2-year window with their figuring to complete their buildings. So they have 3 locations, and they're in the process of starting the bidding process, and hopefully September they'll start building. I wanted to thank George and Lori. I know I sent a lot of emails, a lot of questions. You guys spent a lot of time on this budget. And I just want to say that, as one of our residents said about inflation, it is very important to do the right thing up here as a councilman, and I feel that as a taxpayer and a resident. But we also have to keep up with everything that's going on, and we have a lot that's going on every day, from our police, first aid, with every single thing. And everybody in this town works together, and we work hard to make sure that everybody works together. We might not all agree on everything, but this was a budget that I felt the mayor put together with the staff, and I supported it because I thought that it was the right thing to do for the community. And hopefully we could, it's inflation, hopefully it doesn't take off any higher, but we could work together, and if there is money and surpluses, we could put it in the right spots, and we could just move forward. But I wanted to thank Lori and George for everything. And last, not last, I'm sorry, 2 things. Township Clerk's office yesterday with the primary, I wanted to say thank you again for everything that you guys do. And we never hear a complaint about the clerk's office ever. So thank you guys for everything you do, and the primary. I had a question for our attorney. I read something today about Bill S2930/A4045, which is the Oprah bill that our governor signed in, I believe. How exactly does that affect, like, our residents and us as being the Oprah, the new laws that are, the bill that I just mentioned?
Well, it actually is not going to, I don't think the residents are going to see any changes other than some positive changes. So one of the things that the bill does is that it encourages municipalities, and it'll encourage Monroe and other towns to put more of their content online, so that when residents, they call in and ask for specific documents, it'll be more available. It'll be more available in a searchable form. It'll allow the clerk's office to respond to an Oprah request by pointing somebody to the Oprah portal that has that information. A substantial portion of the revisions to the law dealt with privacy issues because, as we all know, 22 years ago when the Oprah law was originally adopted, or maybe, I guess 22 years ago, nobody contemplated the commercial aspects of Oprah. So, and I know as being a municipal lawyer in those days, I realized that, the first day that Oprah went into effect and we got an Oprah request for everybody that had a dog license. And the reason for that is that everybody who had a dog license then got an advertisement from a dog food company. So it does a lot to protect, we gather a lot of resident information, and it protects the privacy of our residents. That's an important part of it. There are also sections of it, maybe the most controversial sections of it, that deal with, what the clerks could tell you, I'm sure, more stories than I can tell you about the abuses of Oprah, unfortunately, and, they're lawyers, and I don't really like to trash lawyers if I don't have to, but there are some people out there who saw this as a cottage industry. Right. And we had people who make Oprah requests for Oprah requests for Oprah requests, just hoping that they can find a clerk that maybe makes a mistake, and then they can try to get an attorney fee. The law doesn't take away attorney's fees, but it does limit the terms when a requester's attorney can get a fee, and it does it in a fair way. So there's a lot of good parts about it. It deals with some of the Daniels Law implications that we all have been struggling to get into effect. Daniels Law, which protects the privacy of our police officers and judges. So all in all, it was something that needed to be done. It's one of those bills where as soon as you touch it, it draws a lot of controversy from both sides. But I think in the end, residents will see it be a process that's fair, open, transparent, and it keeps the clerk's office from getting inundated in these kind of.
All right, thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Councilman Marshall.
Okay, I just have,
I have no idea, my red light went off on.
I just have a few quick comments. I want to just compliment our finance, George and Lori, for their hard work. Hope now they can take a deep breath and relax a little bit. I'm sure it was putting in so much time with the budget. The other comment I'd like to make is about Juneteenth. If everybody knows, there's a federal holiday coming up, which is June 19th. It was originally called Freedom Day. I'm not sure if everybody realized how important this holiday is. It was signed into federal law by President Biden a few years ago. So it's actually another federal holiday on June 19th, which is why it's called Juneteenth. And the Human Relations is having a celebration at the library on Wednesday, June 19th at 2 o'clock. There'll be some vendors, there'll be a speaker. Please attend. It's a very important day in American history. It took, between the time of the Emancipation Proclamation and the time that the people actually started in Galveston, Texas, it took over 2.5 years for them to realize that they were free. And they were only free because a Union general showed up to tell them. So that's kind of the sad part of American history. But the actual holiday is a very important and very happy day for especially our African Americans here in this country. It should be happy for everybody. The only other thing I'd like to say is primary day went great. Our clerk's department works very hard as usual. Even though Patty wasn't here, it still worked very well. Thank you, ladies. There were some issues with some things going on, but it had nothing to do with the clerk's office. Thank you so much. And thank you guys in the finance. Appreciate it.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Again, just echoing what Councilman Markell said. Thank you to our clerk's office coming back to back with their primary election results, dealing with that yesterday, and then coming to a council meeting. It's a lot of extra work, so thank you all. Just a couple comments on the budget. First, thanking George and Lori and the Finance Department administration for the budget. It's many months of hard work that goes into it, and after reviewing it, it's a very fiscally responsible and solid budget. that meets the needs of our growing community. So I know I share this often, that as I talk to people around communities and other communities around us, our services and amenities that we offer are miles away from everyone else's, so way ahead of other communities. And I'm happy to see, as others have mentioned about the paving, there's a lot of important roads and streets that are being paved, so that's nice to see on the list. And I wanted to share something that I saw, a press release about second grade swim lessons. Since we're starting to think about summer and parents may be interested, Middlesex County is offering free swim lessons to all second graders to enhance water safety and prevent drowning incidents. So, as mentioned, there is a press release out there, so do take a look for the different locations that they're offering this throughout Middlesex County. And just a comment, I know last month we've been celebrating a lot around our veterans. We've had so many events throughout the community, which is nice to see, all different parts of the community. And I know our event this year that we had, our memorial ceremony from the township to honor the veterans, we got a little lucky with the weather too. The weather held out and it was a beautiful morning. But it was really nice to see so many community members coming out. Each year it's growing and growing, so it's nice that we can all honor our veterans together. And then I did want to share a little bit around, so something from our Historic Preservation Commission. One of the things that they do, in addition to the wonderful open houses, and as Councilman DePiero mentioned, we had George Washington there this weekend. They have a Facebook page, and they put little tidbits of history about Monroe out there. And if you're someone who does use social media, check it out once in a while, because there's always something that you do pick up about the history. I was looking at it a couple weeks ago, and I learned that we have Monroe American Girl dolls, which I thought was a little interesting, and learned a little more about it. It's a collaboration with the library. Someone came up with this idea, reached out to the commission, and each of these girls represents a different period in the 100-year history of Monroe. So if you ever are at the library and you want to learn a little more, or grandkids or daughters, you can actually check them out with your library card and read a little bit more about the Monroe American Girl dolls. So again, check out their Facebook page, lots of good information. And that's my report.
Councilman Vanzera?
Okay.
And I'm even going to take a turn.
Okay. At the risk of sounding repetitive, thank you, George, Lori. Also, Alan, you're deeply involved in all that stuff with the budget. Budget's not an easy thing. Nobody ever wants to raise taxes. Nobody wants to do it. And we had 3 years in a row, despite incredible inflation throughout and post-COVID problems and getting items and doing many things, we managed to go 3 years without anything. And this year, I would call it a minimal increase, relatively speaking. But it's about, you got to balance things, because you want to have a good police force, you want to have good amenities around town. This is the 35th anniversary of our library that I saw, one of the jewels of our town, our senior center. You think about all the things we have, we're doing pretty good. And there were things that were added. You know, this year we added like with the police, for example, we added the stations where they could do the license plate readers, you know. All right, well, every time you do something, it costs money. And that's just like an example of something. Between that and the inflation, I think they did a great job at doing what they could, you know, finding the spots where we could get away with things. You don't want to, you don't want to go too far without fixing your roads, because then they get too bad, and then it costs more in the long run. So, as Councilwoman Siegel said, you got to be fiscally responsible. I think they did do a good job, and I thank everyone for their efforts. So that was the first thing. Second thing, as Councilman Markell had brought up, I was going to mention Juneteenth. It is a very important day, especially nowadays. There's a lot of division going on in our country, and a lot of attempts to pit one type of individual versus another, whether it be the color of their skin or their religion, whatever it may be. This was a very important day, and it should be celebrated, because it shows the unity in our country and how everyone should respect one another. And in that same regard, I'm going to go to Flag Day. Flag Day's always been, I know it's not an official holiday, but it's a day of commemoration of the American flag. And I've always been, I don't know, kind of proud of Flag Day. I always make sure I got my flag out. I mean, my flag's out every day, but especially on Flag Day, I think it's important. And when I see things going around and what I feel is disrespect to our flag being shown around the country, I think this year Flag Day is more important than ever. Fly your flag, fly the American flag, and fly it properly, and show respect that it has earned over the 200 and some years of our country. So something I feel very strongly about, and I'm very, very happy to support. Other than that, a couple of smaller things. First of all, it's June. It's going to be graduation. So the high school kids are going to graduate. I want to congratulate all of them in advance, because I probably won't see them after they graduate. They go off to college or wherever they may go. But in that same regard, every year as school lets out, there's going to be a lot more kids around town, whether they're riding their bikes or they're going one place or another. So I urge all the residents to just be extra cautious, be careful, kids, because sometimes they don't use their best judgment, and we'd like to keep everybody safe. So I wanted to mention that. And then to end on a good note, I want to congratulate our high school baseball team. We had a young fella, a pitcher on the team by the name of Zach Wallace, and he was named not only All-County, All-GMC, but he was actually the pitcher of the year, meaning the best pitcher in the entire county. And that's quite an accomplishment. We don't get stuff like that very often. So I did want to mention that. But just so that you would think that you can't be outdone, the coach, Coach Sean Field, well, him and his wife decided they were having a baby, and what did that happen? They managed, there was a game scheduled for May 31st at 5 o'clock. Well, wouldn't you know, Sean's wife was able to give birth at 1:45 p.m., so they had the benefit of having a baby born. Then they went out and they won their baseball game that day. So what a day that was for the Monroe baseball team. So little tidbits like that just kind of make you feel good. And I just want to wish everybody a happy rest of June. It's with this warmer weather, all of a sudden it's just nice driving around town. The leaves are on the trees, and we were talking before about the roads and stuff like that. You compare our roads to other towns. You go to some other towns, it's not all like Monroe. And we do a very good job in our town riding around, and roads are in good shape. It's a nice place to ride around and take a look at. So thank you for all the DPW guys that do all their jobs, and everybody else that does what they're supposed to do in town. And that's all I got to say for now, but thank you, everybody.
Before Mr. Mayor, I had your turn, I had a couple of comments I wanted to make. I join all my colleagues in saying thank you for the budget and for the work that you, Mr. Mayor, that you did in assuring that we had a budget that met the needs of our community and was not excessive and truly well-balanced, and will continue to provide for us for the next year very well. My thanks to Lori and George. I always have a lot of questions. I mark them with little stickies so that I know what I have to ask, and you always answer them. This is a very well-informed council, and part of the reason we are so well-informed is the work done by Mr. Weinberg, Kevin next to him, and our budget folks, who always make sure, both of you, that we get all the information that we need to make an informed decision. So thank you all for another year where you did that for all of us, so that we do a better job of the job we were elected to do. And as has been said, we are a pretty good team. Councilwoman mentioned the Health Advisory Council. Been working very hard to get that up and running, and we finally have made it. And there were 2 successful events that they participated in. One was we had the Red Cross Festival at the high school, and we were there and had traffic flow and got to watch all of the Red Cross Club doing their work. And then we participated, as was noted, at the Mayor's Wellness, that had the Fair with the Youth Advisory Council group. What an adorable and satisfying event that was, to watch them learning about health, sharing that information, and for all of us to be there. So next time out should be National Night Out, and I would hope we get our usual good attendance. And please, dear Lord, it should not be 100 degrees out, which has happened, but we enjoy them. We began with Memorial Day. We have July 4th coming up. I look forward to all of us participating in a variety of events in this very wonderful town in which we live. Mr. Mayor, your turn, please, sir.
Thank you, Madam Council President. I do appreciate the opportunity for allowing me to report. I have 3 items I'd just like to cover tonight. One, obviously, is thanks. Thanks to the administration. Thank you to the council and the citizens for the process of approving this budget. I think it is a sound budget. Obviously, I do want to thank the administration, too, for the successful bond rating that we received again. Keeping with the financial topic number 2, it has been a good month for grants. Just want to highlight 3 particular grants in which we received a new $135,000 16-passenger van through a New Jersey Transit grant for our senior transportation program. This replaces a 2010 bus with over 160,000 miles on it. Obviously, want to thanks to the Senior Center and the Transportation Department for spearheading that. On Friday, we learned a $64,000 state DCA recreation grant for pickleball courts were received, and this is obviously part of the master plan for our pickleball courts at the Senior Center. And the third item is last week we were awarded a $132,000 grant, Clean Communities grant. This is actually $16,000 more than the previous year, one of the largest in the state and the county. I do want to thank the DPW for spearheading that. And finally, I want to talk about the topic of history. I know it's getting late in the evening and history might put people to sleep here as a professor, but please just indulge me. And this is going to be a bifurcated history topic. One, just wanted to talk about George Washington. I did get to down to the Dye Farm, and I met General Washington, introduced myself to him as the mayor, and I welcomed General Washington back to our wonderful township. He says, Monroe Township, named after James Monroe. And then the general told me a little story about James Monroe was shot in the neck in the Battle of, I believe it was Monmouth. And it was give and take at that particular moment whether James Monroe would make it through getting shot in the neck. And through miraculous medical ingenuity at the time of, I guess, just sticking your finger in somebody's neck, he survived. And I said, well, George, General Washington, I said, well, if he didn't make it, maybe it would not have been named Monroe, and he would have been, Washington. And he thought about that for a minute, and he says, there's enough places named Washington. Lastly, history. 80-year anniversary of Operation Overlord, the D-Day assault on Europe. And at a time where we just spent this last month highlighting, celebrating, commemorating veterans alive and who paid the ultimate sacrifice, tomorrow is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And my friends, we talk about the world that we live in now and the tumult and the turmoil. 80 years ago, the world wasn't a great place to be. And the greatest generation of Americans trained, got on a boat, got on some planes, and then went to Europe and changed the course of human history. That greatest generation, I have to say, as we speak right now, we're very lucky to have some great veterans here in the township of Monroe, but there's a gentleman, 98-year-old Cy Lipper, is in Normandy as we speak. American Airlines brought over 80 World War II vets to celebrate that. And Cy's deployment happened on June 1st. He's there now. He's there with his lovely wife, Carol. So tomorrow, on that 80-year anniversary of D-Day, think about the world today, but think about what the greatest generations of Americans did for the world. Keep them in your thoughts and your prayers. Thank you.
A marvelous moment in which to adjourn this evening. I thank you for those comments. For all my mother's years, she couldn't go to Penn Station in New York because it was where all the soldiers left. And she knew so many of them didn't come back. And we spent 4.5 years of the war in an army camp in Florida. And it was a prisoner of war camp and a base hospital. Soldiers disembarked from there to go to places like D-Day and to go on. So the mayor is quite correct. We need to always remember and honor those who sacrificed for us so much. On that note, I'd like a motion to adjourn. Oh, to close the public. We did that. Did I think I did forget to do that? Take me a moment. There you go. Anyone else wishing to address us at all in the public? Please come forward, sir. And I need a motion to open the public comment section of the meeting.
Motion.
May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Dr. Parag?
Prakash Parab, 33 Denai Drive. Want to know, just heard about Ridgewood Estate repaving. I heard it is approved or not approved. What is the status? Thank you.
Yep. Council President, the resolution tonight was to authorize us to submit a grant application
okay.
to get a grant from NJDOT.
Okay, thank you very much for submitting. We do appreciate. And DPW, again, thank you very much. And Wayne Hobbit, I've been in this town for last 22 years. And I remember him wherever there was snowstorm, hurricane, whatever disaster, he was on the phone. I was not knowing who he is. I was working in Bristol Myers in 2007 something. I called him and said, road is not clean. And he said, you remember we have snowstorm here. We'll take care of it. And they came and cleaned up. So he was there all the time behind. When the trees fell and all, he was there, and our DPW was there. And we really are going to miss him. He dedicated his time, and we thank our DPW for that, entire staff, and I wish the new director all the best. Another one thing is, what I heard, and that's a fact, they are cutting trees in developments, and those trees which have been cut are not approved by our Shade Tree Commission. And that is, so one request to the entire community, whenever they cut the trees in your community, maybe Greenbrier or something, they may say that it is approved by their board, but it is not approved by our municipality. So every resident has a right to call our municipality here and ask whether the permit has been taken. Because after destroying a 30-year or 40-year trees, putting some lousy landscaping, they may get fined, but those trees are gone. And that is sad. So every resident, my request, wherever the trees are cut, call the municipal building and ask whether those permits have been issued, because our person goes there and checks and approves and disapproves. Okay, we have a good Shade Tree Commission here. Nice to hear about pickleball, because the summer is starting and pickleball has become very, very popular, and it is good to have the courts. So thank you very much. And good conference we had with mental health and all that. So very nice things going on. So thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Yes, please. Your name and address for our records, please.
Lucio Panos, 1208 C. Lindero Plaza. I forgot to thank the clerk's office about this week. When I sat up there, I had no clue exactly what the clerks go through on election day. Between the changes and the dropout, it's crazy. And more so that I think it should be more in step with the county. The county has to give better direction or not change it every hour. So if you could all pass that along, especially from your office. I'll probably be sending you something. I had so many issues yesterday. But flag, the June Flag Day, that is a wonderful day. East Brunswick, their memorial, their veterans place had the wall, the portable wall or whatever.
Wonderful.
I don't know if you guys went to see it. I went to see it because we had at least 5 neighborhood kids that we lost in Vietnam, plus the other things they had. So maybe this town would consider having a flag disposal event. Actually, because my husband just went to change the flag because our flag was in disarray a bit. And he's going, where do I drop this flag off? So then it was at American Legion or something. Right. However, some towns actually have a ceremony, and since we are a town of so many veterans, at least from the adult communities, it might be something to consider.
Jamesburg has one too.
And I know Sayville has one. I used to actually go to the one in Sayville. And listen, it was near the end. It wasn't on the agenda, but I hear you got a grant for a bus, and it was a given. Was it free, or did my tax dollar help pay for that grant? Did my tax dollar help pay for that?
It's
for that gas guzzling bus, or was it electric?
It's a state grant, so it doesn't come from Monroe taxpayers, but we're all state taxpayers as well. So. But we're happy to get it versus another town for sure. But we did get a grant for a 16-passenger bus. The buses that New Jersey Transit gives out to municipalities.
Because they want to get rid of it. They don't want to pay for the for the gas that we're going to pay for. But anyway, listen, thanks a lot.
Anyone else wishing to address us, Sarah? Your name and address for our records, please, sir.
Good evening again. Bob Valentine, 68 Union Valley Road. First, let me just take a moment to thank you for your feedback on the budget. I appreciate your comments. As somebody who spent 40 years doing not-for-profit finance, including time as a CFO, always one of the most difficult things I was always faced was getting the annual budgets done. So I have an appreciation of the aggravation and the frustrations and everything that goes with that. So I recognize that, and I appreciate all the efforts of the team to work on the budget. I do have some general comments I wanted to make to supplement what I said earlier. I do want to put them in perspective. I don't think Monroe is unusual or a significant outlier in terms of how this process is working, and I recognize that. I want to acknowledge that. But I just think there's some opportunities that I see, at least I think I see, that maybe I can leave you to think about and consider as we go into next year. I just find this process, from a public perspective, very difficult. Unfortunately, not everybody, unfortunate enough to have 40 years' experience to look at the reports and the numbers and have a little more of a better understanding of looking at than most of the citizenry does. It also has some timing challenges. I mean, we approved the budget this evening for 2024, almost 6 months into the year. That's really not ideal, as I think you all know. You really want to have your budget in place, if not before the year starts, certainly early in the year. So you really have going in, really know where you stand and what the plan is. The budget was really introduced and with no significant commentary from anybody, really about how the budget was developed, what its impact was going to be. There's no document in the site, the website, that talks about really how was the budget developed, what are the key assumptions, how does this budget projection compare to what our recent trends and performance have been. I mean, a kind of a plain language, maybe with some charts and graphs, something very simple, but enough that a resident can look at it, at least get a little better sense as an introduction to really how the budget works. And the biggest shame about it is you have such talented people who could easily do that. They're more than capable of talking to it. I've seen it firsthand. I hope these are things that you'll look at. The budget is an 80-page document, and what we do really, in all honesty, is we kind of just, in electronic form, kind of dump it on the community's desk and say, here it is, good luck looking at it, and see if you can figure it out. It's great that we're invited in to ask questions, but sometimes we have to get people to a point to even know what questions to ask, because they don't have the level of expertise that's really needed to understand it. The audit report for 22 is 160 pages. There's tons of information in there. The public can't decipher that. It's great that it's out there, but how do we help the public understand it better and know what's going on? And my last comment is on committees. I checked on the website. I think there's 18 committees right now that cover a range of topics, including recreation, cable TV, and as we just talked about, shade trees. I didn't see a committee that really discusses the finances of a town that has approximately $500 million of assets, $66 million of outstanding net indebtedness, and the annual revenue is in excess of $300 million. I know we do monthly bill reviews at the meetings, which is good. It's good practice, but that's not by itself going to give you a full picture of everything that's going on financially in the town. I would love to see us have some kind of finance committee. I defer to you how you structure something like that, but hopefully the public could at least observe it and get more informed about things like, budget results, budget planning, audit results, how are we doing during the year versus budget, what's going on, summarizing some of what the rating agencies worried about, so we can have a better informed public that they can contribute more meaningfully to this process. And really, in conclusion, I'll just note that I've never watched or read a mystery or a police story where a main character investigating was told or said to follow the shade trees. And I thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to comment? Sir, please. Your name and address for our record, please, sir.
Yes, my name is Miklos Bogner.
I'm sorry, slower into the microphone, sir.
Sorry. Yes, my name is Miklos Bogner. I don't live in Monroe. I am just coming for relay some information to the council. I was actually lucky enough to meet Mr. Merkel at the Jamesburg Council meeting, where I spoke at also. Basically, we're a nonprofit agency, community affairs resource center that does lead abatement and remediation in Middlesex County. We're the only nonprofit that does it. It's for any houses built before 1978. We do it completely free if the resident qualifies by income or family size. So I was just trying to convey the information to the council, and if possibly, maybe you guys can share it on your website, or I can also share with you today, because I do have papers.
Our Affordable Housing Department would be interested in that information. So when we be pleased, Tanya, to get that information, sir.
Okay, so is it okay to pass the information
Sure.
to everybody? And then, so this way you have the information.
We're done. Yeah.
You can just give it to Mr.
Well, he has
Weinberg.
one for each of us. Thank you.
Thank you. So like I said, the program, you qualify by income and family size. We do remediation and abatement. All the towns in New Jersey are required to check on the landlords to make sure
Yes.
they're getting a lead-safe certificate.
Correct.
It's either they have to do it on turnover of the tenant, or they have to do it every 2 years, or, whatever the case may be. So we're just out here trying to give the information to towns that there is a free program available to your residences if they qualify by income or
We
family.
appreciate that. Lead is completely preventable. Lead poisoning is completely preventable. So
Absolutely.
the activities one can take to assure that it doesn't happen to a child
Absolutely.
are very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
No safe level for lead.
Nope, definitely not. I don't know if anybody has any questions in regards to the program, or,
I think we would need to read it first, sir.
okay,
And if we did, you have some information how we could get in touch with you if we needed to. That's all. We will be fine.
okay,
Lead poisoning prevention was one of my interests through my whole career.
great.
So,
That's great. I'm glad I can share the information with you. Hopefully,
yes.
we can work
Yes,
together.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak with us this evening? Seeing and hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
Motion.
May I have a second on that, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I motion to adjourn, please?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call on that, please.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilman Markel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel?
Yes.
Council Vice President Vanzora?
Yes.
Council President Cohen?
Yes.
The
Meeting
time is
adjourned.
8:21. We are adjourned.